Hey everyone, today we are going to do another problem on combining like terms. So we're just going to take what we've learned and we're going to do a problem. So here we go. So the first thing I like to do, is read the problem. Negative times the quantity 3x cubed minus 4x minus 9 plus 2 times the quantity 3x squared plus 2x squared plus 4 minus 6 times the quantity 3x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4. I heard a lot of cubes and squares, so I know I've got some like terms in here that we're going to be able to combine. So let's get started. All right. So again, the first thing we always want to do is look inside the parentheses and see if there's any like terms that we can combine. Well, in this first set of parentheses, there's nothing I can do. There's no like term, so I'm just going to bring it over. But in the second set of parentheses, I've got 3x squareds and 2x squareds. That gives me a total of 5x squareds. And I'll just bring the 4 down. And I got an x cubed and an x squared. Those aren't like terms, so now I'm going to just bring this down. So we were able to shrink that middle parentheses down a little bit. Now, can't do anything else with the exponent or with the parentheses. So the next thing that we're going to do is multiply through. So we're going to use what's called the distributive property. We take what's on the outside of the parentheses and we multiply it through the parentheses. Take a look. All right, I'm going to change the color up here first. Let's go with this one. Now, for this first set of parentheses, I have a negative outside. That's like a -1, if that helps you. So a negative times a positive 3 is a negative. 1 times 3 is 3, and I'm going to carry the x cubed along. A negative times a negative is a positive. 1 times 4x is 4x. And a negative times a negative again is a positive, and 1 times 9 is 9. So I distributed that negative all the way through, and you can see what it did is it changed all your signs. Let's go on. Now I've got plus 2, that's a positive 2, right? A positive 2 times a positive 5, that's a positive 10. I'm going to carry the x squared along. Now I got to do a positive 2 times a positive 4. That's going to give me a positive 8. So I took what's on the outside of the parentheses and multiplied it by everything inside. Next, we have a -6. Remember, a minus and a negative are the same thing. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 3, 18. And I'm going to carry that x cubed along. We doing okay? Yes? Awesome. A negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 3, 18. And I'm going to carry that x squared along. And then a negative times a positive is a negative. And 6 times 4 is 24. So now we've done all of our multiplication. We distributed a negative through, then we distributed a positive 2 all the way through, and then a -6. So now it's time to add like terms. If you remember from my previous videos, when we do that, we start with the biggest exponent. So when I look here, my biggest exponent is a 3. So I'm going to look at all the terms with a 3 for an exponent. I've got -3x to the cube. You see how I circle the sign in front of there too? And a -18x cubed. That's all the x cubes I see. So if I have 3 negative x cubed, and I give you 18 more negative x cubes, now I have 21 negative x cubes. All right. Now let's take a look at the squares because I'm going to go in order. I've got a positive 10x squared, and I've got a positive 18x squares. So if I have 10x squareds and I give you 18 more x squareds, now you've got positive 28x squareds. Yes, are we getting it? If you need to pause the video for a minute, please do so. All right, we're going to keep going. Now, We did x cubed, x squared. Now we got to do x to the 1, which is the same thing as x. So I've got a positive 4x. And that's it. I don't see any other x terms. So I'm just going to bring down that positive 4x. Now, lastly, we have to add our constants together. Our constants are our numbers that don't have a variable attached to them. So let's take a look. I've got a positive 9 and a positive 8 and a negative 24. Well, 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 minus 24 is negative 7. And we are done. There are no more like terms. This final answer has 4 terms. Its degree is 3. Just as a reminder, the degree is the biggest exponent. So it is a cubic polynomial, if you were to name it. All right, I hope this is helpful, and I would greatly appreciate if you subscribed and shared. Thank you.